Hey everybody, welcome back to Floyd's Records. I'm your host, Floyd Sampson. Now, the last video that I did that was a review video was over the Ailstorm album. As y'all know, it was the Curse of the Crystal Coconut album that I reviewed, and I think I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I wasn't overly impressed with it, but y'all got the idea. Y'all watched the video. So this is my second review on this channel, and today we're going to be reviewing the new album by Yusuf, Cat Stevens, T for the Tillerman 2, which it looks like T for the Tillerman squared because of the way the 2 is placed. But so this is the fourth, I guess, or fifth. Let's see, because Yusuf released Another Cup, Road Singer, Tell Him I'm Gone, The Laughing Apple, and then this is his fifth. This is Yusuf's fifth album of Cat Stevens-like material since his return to the music industry in 2005 or 6 or whatever year he did it exactly. And this album is to celebrate the 50th anniversary of T for the Tillerman that is coming up, because I believe the album was originally released in November 1970. So to celebrate the anniversary, he decided to re-record the album. He decided to experiment with it a little bit, get a little more, I guess, out of his comfort zone, if you will, and do some different stuff. Now, I'm just going to say flat out, I'm going to go ahead and give you the rating. I like giving the rating early on because I don't like building up to it and, oh my gosh, what is he going to give it? You know, and blah, blah, blah. And you go through 10 minutes and finally I'm like, oh, I give it a light 6 out of a, I'm not going to do that stuff. So I'm just going to say 3 out of 5 stars for this album. It's probably, in my opinion, Cat's most disappointing album since coming back. Now, I'll say this right out. T for the Tillerman is my favorite album of all time. It is my #1 album ever. Cat Stevens is my favorite artist. T for the Tillerman is my favorite album. And I think this new record is just okay. For the most part, he kind of covers the original album word for word, almost entirely, with the exception of a few tracks. I'm going to go track by track real quick, just to kind of, it's easier just to go track by track. I'm going to try to sum it up, keep this video a little shorter than the last one. The last video is 10 minutes, so I'm going to go a little shorter this time. Starting off with Where Do the Children Play? Well, like I said, there's a little bit more production. Overall, this album has, I think, sleeker, better production. It's 21st century production, and you can tell that it's just everything sounds a little bit clearer, better, louder. So that's a plus, I think. On this song, it's great. I have no complaints. It's just Cat Stevens covering Cat Stevens. Hard-Headed Woman, track 2, it's a little bit different. What he decides to do is sing it from the perspective of a married man as opposed to a man looking for the right person. Now he's saying, oh, I have my hard-headed woman. I'm good to go. But besides that, pretty much the same song. Although he leaves out the acapella. In the original Hard-Headed Woman, Cat Stevens goes, ha, ha, ha. And you don't hear that in this one because, he did it differently. Wild World, I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about this one. It almost sounds like something that belongs on Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby soundtrack. It's kind of jazzy, kind of swingy, a little bit. I think he refers to it as a ragtime song. I'm not familiar with ragtime music, so I couldn't give you any comparisons, but it's definitely different. It's not, if you're expecting to hear Wild World, it's not Wild World, it's a different version of Wild World, but it's kind of cool. It has a creepy stalkerish vibe that I like to it. Sad Lisa, no complaints. It's beautiful. Gorgeous song. He covers himself great. I said no complaints. The singing is a little bit weak, but I think that's because he's trying to sound sad. And I don't think in this time in Yusuf's life he's sad anymore. He's married, he's got kids, he's successful, he found Islam and all that. He's at peace with himself, so I guess he's trying to adopt a sad sound, if that makes sense. And I don't think it's the best thing ever. But the song, like I said, besides that, really no complaints. Miles from Nowhere is good, but I wish they would have stuck with the original piano, during the dun 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 dun, all that good stuff that he does with the piano. I wish that would have stayed in there instead. It's just basically, I think it's heavier bass and guitar. But I Might Die Tonight might be the best song on the album. It's at least one of the best ones because he took the original and made it more cinematic, which is funny because he wrote the original for a film. I believe it was called Deep End. I'm not 100% sure on that, so fact check me. But this version's great. Longer Boats is the most disappointing thing he's ever released, because even though it's unique in that it includes a verse on a lonely asteroid, it includes a verse that he originally wrote for the original song but took out, or at least didn't include, because he does it on certain live versions of the song and whatever. It's he just includes that verse, and there's no other verses. There's no priest, or what does he say? There's no girl walking in the sand. There's no I don't want no God on my lawn, none of that. And there's like this weird rap-ish type bridge thing that I just can't get into. Terrible song. I don't like this one at all. I'm sorry if I offend anybody. Into White. Again, I like the original way much better because they took out the violin in here. He still does a good job, but there's no violin, and I miss that violin. On the Road to Find Out. It's not the original, but I like what he did with it. He bluesed it. He made it bluesy. He made it a little darker sounding. I appreciate that. Father and Son is my favorite one off the album because he mixes his new old voice in with his old young voice, I guess, if that makes sense. His old voice now, and then he mixes it with his old voice when he was a kid. Kind of cool concept there. Teeth of Tillerman, I'm a little bit disappointed in because he takes out the piano introduction. It's not the same as the original Teeth of the Tillerman track. So overall, he covers himself, and I think he does a decent job. The production is great. I don't like the small little minor changes that I miss, that he took out things that I really enjoy about the original Teeth of the Tillerman album. And then, Longer Boats is, I think, so bad compared to the other tracks, it kind of weighs it down. It kind of reminds me of how a third of Father the Bride by Vampire Weekend last year, because I liked that album, but a third of the album is trash. And since a third of the album is trash, it makes the other 2/3, it weighs it down a bit. So sometimes you have a song or two that weighs down the rest of the album. So 3 out of 5 stars. I still enjoy it. I'm a huge Cat Stevens fan. If you've heard it, leave a comment, whatever. Tell me your opinions. If you like this video, like it. If you dislike this video, dislike it. Hate me, love me, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter to me. As long as you watch it, I'm happy. Stay tuned for more reviews. I'll be back with something else. I want to try to review Bob Dylan's album that he dropped a while back, Rough and Rowdy Ways, at some point. So stay tuned, and have a good day.